again, and welcome to Void Signal. I'm Brian Prime, and this episode is a chat with Nino Sable of the band Aeon Sable. Aeon Sable, out of Germany, is a gothic rock, doom rock, psychedelic, metal-y sort of a band that explores the esoteric and other high concepts. It's crafted to be art by someone who loves it, and Nino's passion for it is pretty evident when you hear him talk. But before we get to the chat with Nino, I wanted to talk for a moment, if I could, about community. Our scene, however you want to define that, is but a very small portion of a much grander stage. Beyond our backdrops and screens is the rest of the world, and it's getting grim out there. As these backdrops are increasingly torn open, we're all going to be faced with the stark realities in front of us. The growing demands, stresses, and strains on each one of us could harden us against each other if we allow it to. I think it's important for each of us, now more than ever, to remember the human that lies underneath the brands and the personas and the presentations. Someone under there is pursuing the thing they love in life. And so long as they're not hurting anyone else in that process, it should be encouraged. So I think you should seek out community where you find it. Go to festivals. Go to goth nights. Go places by yourself. Introduce yourself to people you don't know. Take a chance. It could end up wonderful. Speaking of weird groups and community, if you saw me at Dark Force Fest, you might have noticed that I had a little assembly of people around me. People that have grown into the best community and sort of a family I could ask for. There is a Void Signal Discord server that you can join and say hello to people. And even if you don't stay or you decide it's not for you, you're welcome to come check it out if you want to. The link to join will be in this episode's description, but you can also find a hidden invitation at the bottom of voidsignal.net. We've kept it pretty tight, but we're going to open those doors a little bit more now that maybe more people could benefit from it. So come say hello to us. We don't bite and we're not dickheads. And so long as you're not either, yeah, it should be a good fit. Come say hello. Interact with other humans. It could be awesome. Speaking of Void Signal, this episode is sponsored by the wonderful humans at Glom Fest. Thank you to David, Vara, and Amy for their continued support and effort in making Glom Fest happen this fall. It's a chance to see bands like Aeon Sable performing in the US for the first time. Along with the Royal Ritual, The Awakening, the Cemetery Girls, and Dark Jizbay, it's a great lineup. Just visit glomfest.com to find a date near you. That's Glom, Glom, fest.com. Did you know that Void Signal is ad-free and powered by people? You can also support creation of more ad-free Void Signal and get yourself a bunch of extra content by visiting voidsignal.net or patreon.com/voidsignal. One last thing before I let you go. Thank you so much for your patience in between these episodes. I had some life stuff come up and it's been a busy time for me. Things got a little busy and a little crazy a little quickly. But thank you as always for tuning in. I appreciate your time in a busy world. And until the next time, please stay safe, stay loud, and stick together. All right. I'm ready if you are.
I'm fine. I'm here. By the way, I've been checking your website and it's super sexy.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I have no background in web design. I just wanted something that was simple and this company Carrd, CARRD.co. It's like $18 a year for like a really easy to assemble splash page.
But there are some broken links.
Oh, all right. So much for letting me know. I'm going to make a note so that I don't forget to.
And I like the effects of the rain and all that.
Thank you. I thought that was so cool. I was such a sucker for animated websites back in the day that had moving backgrounds and stuff. So I was like, oh, I want that. But yeah, cool. Yeah. Thank you. All right, we can go ahead and begin. I'll just do a quick little intro and then we can kind of get started. Pronunciation of your first name is Nino. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Right?
Yes.
Perfect.
All right, we'll go ahead and get started. Welcome to Void Signal. I am your host, Brian Prime. I am joined this week by Nino from Aeon Sable. You will be performing on the upcoming Glom Fest. Thank you so much for meeting with me, first off, and I'm looking forward to catching you live here in a couple of months. Thanks so much for joining me. I guess the first question I'll just put to you is just how are things with you lately?
I'm fine. I'm very thankful to be here. It's a great honor. A little bit nervous with the new infrastructure, with Discord and all that. It feels like a young kid today.
That can be a good or a bad thing. I mean, like sometimes I like feeling like a young kid, but I chalk that up to my immaturity and sort of my nature of just like, I have kind of curious boy energy that I kind of send out. So people, it's very disarming. People tend to trust me pretty easily of like, he doesn't know anything, which is mostly true, I'll admit. So how did Aeon Sable get started? What kind of drew you personally to music and what made you want to make this? I like the addition of the sort of psychedelic rock kind of touches and really skirting the edges of genre and like doing something different that really helps set you apart. So yeah,
Thank you.
My
Thank
compliments
you so
there.
much.
But how did you get started doing this?
Yeah, it was a long journey, to be true. I was working on my own music, which was like I was singing in a lot of garage bands. I was always a singer and a guitar player, but I'm not a pro on guitars. I know one chord, and I can do a lot of things with that one chord. And so I started doing some grunge music, which was my first musical project. It was called Melancholia, and it was around 2000, 2005. I started with that. And then after a few years, I met Dintayon, which is the other guy who does everything on Aeon Sable with me. And I met him and I told him, hey, do you want to make music? I need someone that puts some more instruments in it and someone who is creative and who has the time to do the mastering and the mixing and all that. And he told me that he was able and that he would like to work with me on my projects. And then I met him and he agreed. And that was around 2010. Mm-hmm. And so we started to cover some of my own tracks and give them a new, like new clothes. And so it's how this whole thing began to roll. And after 1 year, we had the first album. And yeah, I went to a record label, which I was working on at that time. I was helping that record label and I showed that to my boss and he said, wow, yeah, it's cool. You have to release it on vinyl, on CD and all that. And you have to play live and do interviews and all that. And I was like, oh no, we never wanted all that. But yeah, that's how the whole thing began.
Gotcha. And now here you are some years later, getting ready to travel overseas and perform for foreign audiences. Have you guys played in the States before?
No, we have played in Europe. All of our live performances were in Europe. We had around 50 performances right now, a little bit more. But to play overseas, it's really something. And I am a music lover, and not all, but a lot of the bands that I love, and a lot of the artists that I love are from the US. So I feel very honored for the fact that someone is inviting us to play at the Glom Festival.
Yeah.
USA and Canada. Yeah.
I'm excited for you. Let me ask you this question. Playing to American audiences for the first time, have you made any changes to your presentation or the live show to sort of prepare for that? Has that been a factor, or are you just going to kind of come in and deliver what you've been doing before, or has anything changed?
No, there are no changes. We always worked out the shows with a lot of love and a lot of engagement. And I think it's no difference to play here or to play there, because what we do should be true. I think it wouldn't be true if we would be someone completely different on stages. This is the thing that we've been doing all the years. And I think that this is the thing that should hit the stages in the US also.
Okay. And that is a thing I admire about what you're making and what you're doing, is that there is a lot of thought and craft that goes into it. I checked out and watched music videos. I have such a soft spot for music videos because it's such a great sort of mixed media format for enjoying music of, here's a visual component that adds another dimension for interpretation or enjoyment. Thank you so much for that. It's not a thing that everybody does or takes the time to do. And I just think it's so cool and can be so valuable. Do you have plans to do more music videos in the future? I know they are expensive and take time and so on, but given that you've made some really excellent ones so far, is that a thing that you will do again?
Yes, it is very important for us to have wonderful music videos. There is, it's another layer and a very important layer. So it was a lot of money to let produce these videos, and I always trust the artists behind it. It's not like we hire someone. We always hire the ones that we know they will work well with us, that they are in the same mindset as we are. And often we give them a lot of creativity and space to do what they want. And afterwards we tell them there is some more stuff that we can deliver, like images or vector graphics, so that it really looks very professional. So I personally think it's very, very important to deliver a completely good piece of art, not spare some money here and there, because video is important and always was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, agree. And I feel like that has definitely become even more pronounced now in an age of everybody is looking at their phones. I do feel that having a visual component to things is starting to become maybe not mandatory, but far more important than it ever has been. So yeah, I definitely agree with you there. It is very important. So aside from Aeon Sable, which is your main baby from the sound of it, what else do you get up to? What do you fill your time with? And what other kind of hobbies or projects do you have?
I mainly work on music. I have no hobbies and I have no work. I only have the music, and I love music overall. I'm also a graphics designer in my real life. I like to combine both multimedia design and all that. My life is really into music. I'm working on a lot of solo stuff. I'm working with a lot of artists from other countries. That's one of the good things about the internet. I really love the internet because of that. I'm working with people from Greece or with people from Italy, with people from America and so on. And it's possible. And that's one thing that I really love. For me, music is like a big, big journey, and it will never be over. There's always something new to discover, some new mindset to discover, some new artists to discover and to feature. And that's what I really love to do. So I think music is the path.
Yeah. Well said. I'm such a fan of music myself, though incapable of making it myself. But yeah, music it feels like such a transformative piece of art that can cause your emotions to swell in you. And yeah, I'm such a fan of music. And I agree, like there's so much fun in doing new things with it, or discovering people who, like in your case, have taken other things and applied their own personal filter to it, so that we get to appreciate that same sort of creative vision, I guess. Yes. It's very nice.
And you never know what you get. That's the funny thing. Sometimes I have a track and people ask me to write some lyrics and to sing it, and I do it. But then I ask them, how would it sound? And when they send me the files back, they sound completely different. And it's so funny. But there are some things. That's the one very important thing about music, is that for me, it's an international language. Even if you don't really get the words, but you get the feeling. And that's something really special. But on arts in general, even in paintings, it's also like that. The main idea behind it, but people have the chance to transcribe it in words and in colors in a different way. But the main idea stays. And that's what I really like in music.
Yeah, agree. And it's similarly, I do so love the internet for that, because it's given me a chance to experience so many things from so many different places, and to sort of see how all of these different translations of the ethereal, the immaterial, like people are transcribing their emotions into art. It's interesting to me also to see how that sort of is represented differently via different cultures, of like a band from Sweden might sound like this, or a band from Germany, or a band from Italy, or a band from wherever. I mean, it's allowed me to hear music that I absolutely normally would not have. It does feel like the modern landscape, 2025, is busy. The barriers to entry are at an all-time low. I feel like there's so much coming out and that it can be difficult to stand out. For you personally, what do you think has helped Aeon Sable kind of stand out amongst everything else that is kind of coming out?
I think one very important fact is that you are true to the art and true to what you think and what you want to say. If you are just delivering a product as an artist, you are not an artist. You are a producer or a worker. And I think this is the most important thing, that we keep on transcribing human emotions, even with all the AI out there trying to do its best in covering it. But I think human expressions will always talk to human. And so what I would say to a new artist, to an upcoming artist, is stay true to yourself, and play some around with AI, but don't let it do the job. So if you have something to say, say it. Go play darts or watch TV or something like that, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I think the personal message should be always in front. And in our case, we want to make people dream. We want to get people out of their regular lives, to give them a scenery where they can just jump in and swim around and have their own ideas and visions in that landscapes.
Absolutely agree. Very well said. So let me ask you this question. People who are longtime fans of yours, you just put out a record in two most recent records, 2018 and then 2023. Presumably, this is a thing that will continue for the foreseeable future. Is there another record brewing down the road? I know these things take tremendous amounts of time and effort and concentration, but is that a thing that's being worked on in the background?
Sadly not. Right now we are taking like a creative pause. It doesn't mean that there is nothing coming anymore, but we felt that a lot of what we wanted to say has already been said. Maybe sometimes it's better to do other stuff until the right moment comes for you to have new visions and feelings to express. Right now, it's a little bit of that time, because we had the pandemic, which really destroyed the band, so to say, because a lot of concerts were annulled. I don't know, does it say annulled?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. And it took a lot of energy out of us because we were so hot to play. We had a tour in Brazil to do and all that, and nothing of that happened. And now it's a little bit difficult to get into it again. But in any case, there is a lot of music to discover still. I think we released around seven albums until now, plus one best of. So there is a lot to discover. And I guess that we will come out with something, but it's not today or tomorrow.
I feel like it was a thing I kind of ran into a lot in creative writing as well, is that like someone who people can write about experiences, but if they have not lived them or had sufficient experiences, your well to draw from can be a little bereft. Like there can be, it can be a little empty. So I do agree with you in that I think that creative pauses are a good thing. I mean, hats off to those artists out there who can crank out a song a month or a song every few weeks or whatever. But I wonder over the quality of it, of how much more special could this have been, or how much more effort could have gone into this if you'd spent more time on it, kind of a thing. And I think going and having experiences is important to like development. Like you need to have something to say. I feel like not just as, even if you aren't an artist, like you should go experience things so you have things to talk about and experiences to share, I feel.
Yeah, I see that like a field, you can't grow the same stuff every year. Or every month. So sometimes you have to do a little pause so that the field can get back to zero or something like that. And I think it's very important not just to shout out because we are capable of shouting, but to think well about what to shout.
I like that sentiment quite a lot. And I do think it is important to shout in general, but it should be a thing worth saying. Like you said, I heard this on another podcast I listened to recently, that we have entered into, and this kind of ties into what you were saying before about being true. The thing I heard is that we have entered into an age of authenticity, where who you are as a person is part of the music you make. And it's all very connected. There's less of a disconnect from the artist and the person. Do you find that to be true as well? I don't want to put words in your mouth.
Well, I think that everything that we experience as persons is going to flow into the art that we do. So the way we live and the troubles we have and transcript and music and art in general is very good for that.
So another thing I want to talk about before I ask you the last question of the show. So tour lined up for later this year. How are you feeling about that? I mean, you must be pretty excited to come play the States for the first time, but what else is kind of running through your mind as far as this next chapter in the band?
Yeah, to be true, I stopped watching the news.
Yeah.
I think that was a good decision.
Yeah.
Because everything there were a lot of voices telling me that it will maybe be different now than it would have been maybe 5 years or maybe 10 years ago, better say 10 years ago. I have some thoughts about it, but I have also the vision of having a wonderful and great time with people that know us and that wants to see us and that wants to join us on a great festival and that really wants to forget the regular lives for at least 3 or 4 hours. So that's what I'm really, really looking for. And that's what keeps me rolling. Yeah, I really want to do it, and I really want to do it the best way and have a very good time with the people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I agree. And I am looking forward to it very much. It's a thing that is sort of difficult to balance of like, the other day, I find myself putting in my time off request at work so that I can go to a festival and then having the thought of like, well, what is the world going to look like by the time those months arrive? Because everything feels so fast. It is a hard thing to balance of like the uncertainty of the future versus trying to make the most of the present, I think. So
yeah, but I think if we are not pessimistic, I think it's a good time to be optimistic. That's the point.
Yeah, agree. I'm a fan of optimism myself. So yeah, I can appreciate that. Okay, well, I will go ahead and put the last question of the show to you, which is just what is something that you have been enjoying recently? And your answer can be anything, a book, a movie, TV show, your dog. Just what's something that you wake up and you are jazzed about doing?
Oh, I love reading. Lately, I started reading a lot of 70s sci-fi stuff. I'm into Stanislav Lem and Isaac Asimov, and I'm having a lot of fun with it. I installed a game. It's called GTA 4. I don't know why I did it, but it was, I think I know why I did it because I used to play that when I was younger. So I don't know. I just love to be cruising with my car in that city. I don't do the missions. I'm just cruising around and stealing one car and then cruising with that car and stealing another car and trying to do the stunts. That's the most important thing, is to do the stunts.
Yeah. Driving stuff really fast off of other things is where it shines. I agree. Interesting choices.
Yeah, I have a driving license, but I would never drive like that. I'm just, I know the difference between real life and computer.
Yeah, I used to speed a lot in my car, and then I got my first and only speeding ticket, and I was like, ooh, I don't want to pay money for this. So ever since then, I keep it under the speed limit on the roads. But yeah, I used to love playing Grand Theft Auto and just hijacking cars and going on stunts and playing the online races. Like I remember when GTA like 5 or something came out, you know, playing with friends and being like, man, the races are so fun and so good, and making random checkpoints on the map and seeing how fast we could get there. Yeah, good stuff.
There's another game I really love. It's Trackmania. I don't know if you know that game.
No,
it's really, really fast. It's a racing game. I'm also into that a little bit. But most funny thing has really been reading, because we are in spring here right now and it's beautiful weather outside. So I can go. I have all my books on my Tolino, a little paper.
No.
A reader, a book reader.
Okay, gotcha.
And I have around 1,000 books on it. And it's just wonderful. You can always turn it on and have a great read. I can't say that. I have a lot of favorite books. Lately, I have been reading a book by Aleister Crowley, which I really loved. It was The Diary of a Drug Fiend, I guess. The title is the worst thing on the whole book.
Yeah.
Because the book is really beautiful, and I found out that this guy isn't just a crazy magician, but he was also a very good writer. I think he was really very underestimated in terms of writing.
I would agree with you. I read a lot of Aleister Crowley in my youth, and I really took to his poetry, actually. La Gitana and the Pentagram, I still have them memorized because I love that poem so much. So yeah, I do agree. He could at times write really beautiful, interesting poetry as well. So yeah, I do agree with you there. I always answer the question myself. So just to chime in here, I've also been trying to rediscover my love for reading. It's been a little difficult because I used to read a lot, but it has been just one of those habits that you fall out of. Like it's too easy to just grab your phone instead. But I've been reading The Dubliners by James Joyce. This has been a nice change of pace, even though it's sort of considered capital L literature or whatever. But it's been really cool. Sort of Joyce is very romantic with his language, and I'm such a sucker for that. And this is just a collection of short stories that are just like vertical slices of people's lives. So like it will a couple of pages of this person and their woes and their worries, and then it's over. And then here's another person and here's their anxieties and their thoughts, and then it's over. And
wow.
I like it a lot for just sort of, it's like meeting people and just sort of jumping in people's heads for a couple pages and seeing what their story is about. And then, it's off to the next one. And I love it so much for that.
That's the base of short stories. So that's why short stories were invented, to read them in the metro, just between a few stations. And I also really like it. You will have to write me that later.
Yeah.
I want to read that book.
For sure. Have you read my favorite book? I'm going to plug here. Have you read Slaughterhouse-Five by Kurt Vonnegut?
No.
He was a journalist and was drafted, and in World War II, he survived the firebombing of Dresden. And he writes this story about that event taking place and happening to another person, this fictional character, Billy Pilgrim, who gets abducted by aliens, and they cause him to be unstuck in time. So if you've seen Arrival, it's like that same idea of like, he doesn't experience time in a linear fashion, but rather in a circular one. So the story will jump around from like, oh, I'm back in Dresden and I've been captured. I'm a POW, which is what happened to Vonnegut. And like, so you have, so when he's describing like, this is what Dresden looks like after the firebombing, like he saw it, of like people charred and roasted and everything destroyed. Yeah. Beautiful writing that's maybe a little scatterbrained at times, but it's such an interesting way to sort of view human existence of like, yes, this person died. They are dead in the future. And when you see them in the future, that is a bad point in their life, but their life is a circle. So when they are younger and when you are with them, they're alive and well. And, you know, you can always have those memories. And during that time, it can't be taken away from you. They were always perfect in that moment. It's so romantic and sweet while being so poignant and deep. Oh, I love that book.
That later. You have to write me that later.
Yeah, for sure. It is so good. Kind of what you were saying earlier of like when you find something that you love, it feels so good to just love it as hard as you can, kind of a thing.
Yeah, absolutely. So. And tell me one thing. Where are we going to meet? What show are you coming?
I'm in Reno, Nevada. So the closest show to me is San Francisco. So I will see you on the night of this, because the first night's LA. Gotcha. So yeah, we'll see you in San Francisco. I'm really looking forward to it. And we will go ahead and wrap this up. Yeah. Thank you again so much for your time, for meeting with me this Sunday morning. Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to catching your performance, and I'm going to drag as many people as I know to take it in and enjoy it.
You are really welcome. And please talk to us. You will see us at the venue and just talk to us.
Yes, absolutely. I will. And that goes double for anybody listening. Like, please go up, say hello. Yeah. It's always good.
We are real. We are human.
Yeah, it's verifiable. They'll be able to check. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much and have a wonderful time. And thank you very much for listening to us. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to meet you in San Francisco at the Glom Festival.
Yeah, the Glom Fest, not the Glom Fest. It's
No.
All right, cool. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your time.
Bye. Thank you.
Right. Take care. Bye.
You too. Bye.
Void Signal intro remix for this episode by Mobius. Visit processor2.bandcamp.com for more Processor, and visit Mobius Music, MOBIIUS music.bandcamp.com for more Mobius.